Welcome back to Tipping Point. I'm your host, Kara McKinney. An entire Denver, Colorado hospital system is on the verge of collapse due to the illegal immigration crisis. 8,000 illegals went to Denver Health last year for a total of 20,000 visits, costing the hospital millions in unpaid fees. The hospital has spent over $130 million at this point, but getting reimbursements from the state or from the feds has been tricky. That means the hospital has been forced to look to nearby city councils for extra funding, as well as to cut hospital bed availability, reduce raises, and to delay renovations. Many are pointing out that this is the Marxist-Cloward-Piven strategy brought to life. The strategy was named after two professors from Columbia University's School of Social Work, who wrote about it in 1966 for the left-wing magazine The Nation. The idea is for the collapse of the current American capitalist system to be brought about by a series of manufactured crises, such as a massive national debt burden or a flood of illegal immigration overwhelming the system, allowing the federal government to intervene more and more. The strategy can be best summed up this way: if it ain't broke, break it, so you can fix it to solidify your power. But sometimes the collapse can happen too fast to properly manage for the revolution, and in those cases, the government may try and slow down the destruction to a more manageable degree so that they don't lose their power while trying to solidify it forever. It's definitely a balancing act, like a bull rider trying not to get thrown off by the very beast he's unleashed. To that point, our next guest tonight has a new piece out at the New York Post headlined, "Has Biden bribed Mexico to control border and help him win the election?" Joining us now to discuss is the author of that piece, Todd Bensman, a senior national security fellow at the Center for Immigration Studies. Todd, thanks for being here tonight.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Great. So your article describes what's happened in the weeks since high-level Biden White House officials like the Secretary of State went to Mexico around Christmas time. So what kind of deal was struck, do you think, and how is that affecting the situation at the border currently?
Well, I think most of us remember, especially if we consume news, that October, November, December had absolutely catastrophic numbers of illegal immigrants crossing 12,000, 14,000, 15,000 a day. Unbelievable numbers, and it forced the media to go out there with their news drones and film it all, and there's all this footage of just these throngs of people just pouring over. Right in the middle of that, Biden decides to go down and meet with Obrador on the 22nd, and then Mayorkas and the DHS Secretary and Antony Blinken went down again on the 27th, right after Christmas. And lo and behold, the next week, Mexican troops are rounding up immigrants all over the north of Mexico, forcing them into caravans of buses and shipping them all the way down to Tapachula in the deep southern state of Chiapas, and flying them to Tabasco, also deep south Mexico, aboard aircraft from Tijuana all the way down to Piedras Negras and Matamoros, bulldozing migrant camps that had been there for years, and most importantly, shutting down access to the freight trains, La Bestia. I've been on your show talking about those freight trains a year ago and how nobody was guarding or blocking or policing. Anybody could just walk out and walk into a depot and just jump a train and go anywhere they want on the border. Well, that's not possible anymore. They are stopping that, and they're shoving everybody down into these southern provinces to where it looks today kind of like a Gaza Strip, and they're holding them there with roadblocks, saying you can't get through unless you in 5 or 6 months get one of these permits. And so the numbers that we saw in December, 15,000, are down to like 5,000 today, 6,000. So expect some victory laps there. I don't know what our government gave to Obrador, but he is not doing this out of the goodness of his heart. I can promise you that. All of a sudden, doing all these operations that helped Joe Biden get out from under the media glare of 15,000 a day crossing in the months leading up to what? November, the elections. So I think that's really what this is all about.